Hey guys, if you're new here, my name is Patrick LeVar. I'm sharing my journey of learning Blender Octane with you guys. This is one of the videos from my free Blender 101 Octane guide. If you're totally new to Blender Octane, at least the render engine portion, this guide will help you get started. Enough of my jibber jabber, let's get straight into the video. Our next one we're looking to here, if we go down, it will be the texture, the Octane texture tile node. We come here, image tiles. This is kind of a specialty one. Again, if we plug this into the albedo, and if you notice, if we go to load in a material on here, immediately we get a warning flag here. If you look down here, it says this image tiles only supports UDIM type images. At the moment, I do not have any UDM, and I think this will be for more of an advanced video. So we'll save this one for the advanced portion. But if you do know what you're doing with I can't even pronounce that, UDIM types, this is the node that you would basically use, and you can still see we are still using some of the same settings that we had earlier. Power, legacy, gamma, invert, all of these pretty much are still here. And then we do have this empty black tile color here for this specially formatted files or the UDIM types. So that will be in a more advanced video later to come. All right, next will be our grayscale image. If we come back down here to Octane textures, image, we want a grayscale image. It's pretty much the same as the RGB image, but like it says, it's grayscale. It basically takes all of our color values and turns them into a black and white value from 0 to 1. The reason why you may want to use something like this is with GPU rendering memory, VRAM is definitely an issue. So for certain things that we don't need color, especially on maps, roughnesses, this is where we can save a little bit of space on VRAM here. So you can clearly see it has taken all the color out of this, and it only basically sees black and white values. Pretty much the same settings here. We have our scaling, importing, and our source. Again, we can keep those default if you don't know what they are. Again, controlling the intensity of this. One being full land, black, there's our power. We have the same color space add-on here. We can add in our color space. Legacy gamma, again, we can use this because typically gammas are set to 2.2 for color images. So in this case, if you switch this to 1, it's not a bad thing because we're in the black and white values. But if you don't know and you're unsure, you can just leave it at 2.2. Again, we can invert the values. And this is extremely powerful with this because we're dealing with black and white values. And then here is our linear sRGB convert. Same parameters here. We can add a UV transform, and we can scale and alter the size of this and move it around. We also still have our projection node for adding our UV projection, and we can add different ones like I showed you earlier. And then we also have our wraparound here, so we can continue to use the wraparound and mirrored clamp, black values, and the same thing, white values. This is a very powerful node and an extremely useful node for saving resources, especially once we get into heavier scenes. Again, you can check down here. If we scroll all the way down to device preferences, you pop this open. Here it shows us right here our memory usage. Here's our limit. Here's our memory usage. So again, this is where, like I said, you will want to basically maximize your use of VRAM. So if it has you don't need to use a full color one, just use the black and white to help save memory usage. Image textures left 2 megabytes, and that is the grayscale image. All right, next we're going to be looking at the image texture node. If we go in here, we go down to textures, image. We have here the alpha, I think I mispronounced it, the alpha image node here. So the alpha image node basically says what it does. Alpha, it has alpha, it contains the alpha data. So it works with PNGs, TIFFs, EXR, things that have an actual alpha channel in them. This is what we would use it for. So another case scenario, if I come in here and load in an RGB image texture, which we talked about earlier, and I'm gonna plug that into the albedo here, load in a material. I have a PNG here. And if we come in here and let's go ahead and reset our renderer. So we see that we have this wrench. This is a PNG file, but we're not getting any transparency. So most people will just come down here and plug this into the opacity, and you see that it's still not working properly. So that's where the alpha image comes in. I'm going to load in the same file here, And then I'm going to take this, and if I plug this into the albedo so you can see what's happening, here is our alpha data, but then we're still not seeing it. So to get that separation, again, we would just plug this into the opacity. Now we have our separation. Now the alpha is working. And even here we have the color, which is basically this default color that I chose, it's the albedo. But then this is where you'll take your normal image and you'll put your RGB image and plug it into here. Now we have the alpha data complete here. So keep that in mind. A lot of times people have a problem using images that have an alpha, and this is the proper workflow. Again, using your alpha image to pipe that in here. I take that off, we don't get the opacity. Again, we take this 0, right? Plugging that into there doesn't work properly. So plug the alpha in, and this is very useful for things like grass or icons or labels and things that you want to put on. This is the proper workflow for it. So this is the alpha image node, and pretty much the same parameters are on here. We have the IC scaling, import. All of this is pretty much the same. Our power setting, again, to control the power. Then we also have color space. We can add our color space in, legacy gamma. On this one, I guess it really doesn't matter if it's a 2.2 or a 1 here, because we're just dealing with the alpha channel and straight numbers, right? You can invert that also. If you want to go for more of the cutout stencil, that's available. Then again, the same UV transforms. We can use this to transform. Now you can see what we're getting here. This is where our wrap projection comes in. Not projection, but our border modes. Right now it's a wraparound. If we just want it to be 1, we'll just go black value and then set that to black value. Now we just got just our one image here that's only coming through here. And again, it's the same thing. This needs to match. We'll come to black color and set this to black color. And oh yeah, because I changed the scaling of these, I was wondering what's going on here. If you now hold down shift, right mouse click, we can add in a node, and then I'll just go ahead and plug that into there, and now boom, there be nice and synced up together. Again, select all of those. We can go to 2, make that very big, select all of those, you can control that. So that is basically how you will use the alpha image node, which is extremely useful. Guys, if you enjoyed this and you want to go deeper with Blender Octane in particular, I do have a Blender Octane community. I'm giving a 7-day free trial to the community where you can get more access to content like this. Plus, you can get access to the Blender Octane 101 guide as it's being released, as it's being built. And I also have material libraries, databases of nodes and different types of things to help you learn Octane Blender and an engaging community. So if that's something you might be interested in, take a look down, 7-day free trial. Hey, if you don't like it, then you can just leave. Catch you in the next one. Take a look at the next video in the guide. Peace.